So let us settle in for a moment, please. And, noticing we are here together with about 20 other people. Some of them we know and some are new. There's always a little bit of excitement when we come together on these Wednesdays. And I'm sitting here in the Aloka Earth Room in San Rafael, together with Heather. Last week I have been reflecting about the fact that actually the ups and downs of our lives fueling our evolution, our personal evolution, but also our collective evolution, because it pulls out yet unmanifest potential. And it's not like a straightforward process. There's lots of going forth and going back, going forth and going back. But there is like a tendency towards more inclusion. And when we have the courage, to walk with the question how to relate to all of this, we slowly become the answer in response to that calling. And today I'd like to, guide us in another similar practice as last time, to connecting with our calling. And as usual, we start simply where we are by dropping into the body, coming down from the head into the body. And sometimes, that's rather uncomfortable, really feeling and sensing how we are and not making a story out of it. That's not easy. Because, if we want to connect to our calling and if we want to live from that place, what needs to happen is we need to work with our own wounds and the traumas or karma, simply, with the past, which is not yet integrated. And as we are connecting to the calling, these wounds become more and more apparent. These, contractions and defense patterns, which we start to more and more observe, as we are paying attention to the so-called, obstacles on the path. Because they are not real obstacles, they are the path. And, the paradoxical truth of the process of our own waking up, that we always have to go and meet, that which is so-called in the way, in order to set it free and integrate it and open up more and more. And then we become the medicine through, and it's pulled out through the calling. Or sometimes it can be also called the purpose. By coming back to it and connecting with it, we feel the motivation and we get the strength, to meet those so-called obstacles inside and outside of ourselves. And then, we become more able to be really of service and become part of the collective immune system of the planet, or, the healing movement, which is happening, all around the globe, and we can be part of it. And that's really, the purpose of our meeting here also on Wednesdays is to encourage each other and to hold each other in meeting those growing edges and becoming part of the immune system. And, finding out more deeply what we want to give to the world and what calls us. So that our own healing, enriches the world. And then if we can relate to that, the sense of calling and of purpose gets stronger. And it's easier, to keep on moving. Moving like an earthworm. It's not particularly amazing, but it is more like a steadiness and the capacity to be with the mess of not exactly knowing, where we are going, but engaging and making ourselves available anyway. Particularly looking at, how we are showing up in the world every day. And, connecting with what comes up, is maybe fear, aversion, numbing, certain addictions, and just starting to really notice that. And no longer, trying to turn away from it, but really turning towards it. Knowing, inside of those patterns, there's a lot of precious energy frozen, which can be freed up and then integrated. And then, there's more capacity, more resilience, and more energy to live the calling, because we can allow more of life to land in us. We don't have to keep ourselves so small. And when I had that first time that really hit me was in my late 20s, early 30s in Thailand. I had, great ideas what I wanted to do in the world and all, and so on. But I met my limitations and my fears and, my projections, and I really felt I have to first work on myself. And that's actually what brought me into the monastery of my first teacher in the early 90s, because I really felt I needed to first develop myself more in order to be able to really be of service. And I thought, I'm going to be in the monastery for a short while. And I'm still, in the monastic form, because it turned out there is a lot to heal. And then in the process, it turned out that it was my calling to share that what I've learned with others. So I became like a meditation teacher, we can say, So that was not what I thought I would be. But in the process, as I was responding and so on, this is what manifested. So that's part of it, to be with the unknowing, to not really knowing how it's going to manifest, but nevertheless to connect with the calling, the pull, which basically helps us, to manifest our own potential. And, through that process, we are becoming the medicine by transforming our own nervous system. Because when the nervous system heals, we integrate more and more, and that then, manifests as post-traumatic learning and a maturation. So we are integrating, the hardship and the suffering of the trauma, and through that, our life expands. And, we start to express our previously unmanifest potential. And we become more and more what we can be. It's almost like, a yet unmanifest part starts to reincarnate in us, something which wasn't yet livable for us because we were contracted. Suddenly we can live from that place. And then, we make connections and things, start to show up in our life, which we weren't able to connect before that. So that's a really beautiful process. And it's like a process of unfreezing, digesting, and integrating, like a real alchemical process, which has its own intelligence and is fueled, by the intention to manifest our calling. That's what pulls out the unmanifest potential from us. So it's a powerful process, and we don't know where it's going to take us. And, we are becoming more and more what we can be. And we don't do that only on a personal level, but it can also happen, in a family system and also on the global level. And, connecting with that pull, the urge to evolve, as I sometimes call it. Knowing, that it works through all of us and we can tune in with it. And then basically benefit, from that natural process of the evolutionary momentum which is manifesting on the planet or through the planet. This healing, then it is healing, self-organizing intelligence of the planet which calls us. And if we can tune into it, we can be informed by it in the true sense of the word, that we can allow it to land in our form. And having the body as an organ of listening, the body as a plug-in into the self-regulating intelligence of the planet, because the body and the planet are one process. So today, again, I want to offer a guided meditation to help us, to tune in together and see what emerges for us individually. So please, find the posture you can sustain for about 40 minutes. And, sensing the pull of gravity, which gently pulls you towards the soil, the ground underneath where you're sitting. It's showing us where we come from. These bodies come from the earth. And with the out breath, slowly putting down some roots into the soil underneath. If that works for you, there's no pressure. Just gently visualizing that connection. And also the connection amongst all of us here in this group. Sitting all over the planet. Some of us are in Europe and all over America. There's this network of connection. Underground and above ground. And we are connected with the planet through eating, drinking, going to the bathroom, breathing. We all can sense, the presence of others here in the Zoom room. And it's all quite mysterious, how we can sense that, but we can. We don't need to figure it out. But just leaning into that support, into the connection, the shared aspirations, to be part of the immune system of the earth, to be part of the healing response of the biosphere. To find our own individual connections through our calling. That's the entrance. And also the skills we have, the medicines we already are aware of we have. That's the gateway into the connection. That's our contribution. And by saying yes to whatever our inner state is right now. So that we can connect more fully. And breathing up the stability of the earth, the vastness, the stillness. And through this, tuning in, the whole system starts to settle down. As the system settles down and the fragmentation starts to heal, even just for a few moments, we feel more close to the ground. When we are agitated, we are tending to be in the head. And if the system is calm, there's more of a sense of grounding. So the more we are healing the past trauma and certain patterns, the more we are able to ground and connect with the soil. So everything we integrate and heal puts more soil underneath our feet, heals our connection to the land. Because it heals our inner land. And because of that, we can feel more where we come from, the mother, the planet, the earth, her pulse, her rhythm, her aliveness. And through that, we can access a bigger context. You're sensing the vibration, the humming, the aliveness of the body, our individual body, and also the soil underneath us and the space around us. So being firmly rooted here where we sit. And settle down. We can also open the mind. And being aware of that which knows about our perception, our experience. Awareness. And that, awareness, resting in awareness is a refuge in Buddha. Taking refuge in the knowing of our deep embeddedness in the manifest and the unmanifest. And also maybe noticing the sense of ease. If the mind is, not wanting anything, but just being here. The spaciousness of that. And inside of that spaciousness, maybe you can reflect a little bit on your healing journey, your own journey, since you have been consciously connecting to the possibility, of cultivating your connection to your calling. And that you actually do have a choice here. And where are you standing with all of it right now, and what is it that calls you? And such a question is not answered with a simple answer, but it's more like the fuel for our evolution. It's an ongoing open question. It's not something we can, pin down, but we can engage with it. And the question and the answer are not two. It's more walking the question, or walking with that question, walking as the question. And then step by step, we become the answer. And the questions just fall away naturally. We don't find the answer, but we become the answer. Our lives become the answer. And what we can do is we can cultivate the quality of connecting with the question. The willingness, to be in the mess of it. Not in a willful way, but in a soft way. And so what's your relationship to the question you are working with? How are you relating to that process? If there's so-called obstacle or impasse or bottleneck, how you go about that? Are you pushing and forcing, or can you soften to what it brings up in you? And maybe the fear, the stress, which is activated. Not believing the mind, but rather, going into the body and sensing into what's happening. A way of connecting, with coming from compassion, from curiosity, rather than, wanting to get it done, wanting to tick it off, wanting to have it under control. We can know that. And we can include all of this into the process, because that's where the work lies. In opening up more ground in ourselves. And then that can connect with the land, our daily life, our daily walking of the question. However our purpose, our calling might manifest. We are part of a collective self-healing mechanism of the biosphere. And we don't exactly know, how our calling will find its expression. But we can, sense what excites us, where there is a sense of passion for contributing something towards the healing of the biosphere. So, sensing the aliveness, the cosmic hum, which is permeating our body. We can sense the pulse of the planet and the aliveness of the space around us. It's all alive. And listening into that aliveness, that's where the answers will come to us. Not in a verbal manner, or most likely not in a verbal manner. That aliveness always finds a way to continue. And that's what we have to tune into. That aliveness always finds a way through the mess, through the depths of the process of evolution, which is going on since billions of years on this planet, almost 5 billion years. And all of the different life forms which have arisen and gone again, and then morphed into some other form. And this is the process we are involved in. That's the backdrop, to our personal expressions. And by opening in this way, we can receive an update, basically, of our own journey. Opening to that self-healing intelligence of the biosphere with the wish to serve it, to embody it. The intention, to be really consciously connecting with the intention, because this is how this connection is cultivated. Through intention and through attention. And through listening, deep inner listening. And as we meet those so-called obstacles, to include them, not trying to power through, but including them. And trusting that self-healing intelligence as our guide in the process. And our passion, our calling connects us to that. When we feel we lose touch, just listening again. And also noticing, how we are expressing that. If there's a willfulness, because there's fear, there's doubt, then just knowing that and including that as well. It all belongs. There's nothing wrong, because it's a process of maturation, which is fueled, by the calling, by the sense of purpose. And knowing that there's many, many, many beings on the planet who are working with that. And more people feeling that calling, as the biosphere is, pressurizing us to wake up. The heat wave on the East Coast, yeah, it's just like another wake-up call. It's not going to go away. It's going to get more and more urgent for us to engage individually and collectively, and to bear with the process of maturing into participants rather than, children of the planet. We are not children. We are participants, and we have to do things differently. And we can't really do things differently from the old narrative. We first have to take care of that transformation of the narrative by experiencing the fact, that we are not separate from the planet. And that's what we are trying to do with those meditations, to mature our assumptions. Because all solutions, which come from the old assumptions won't gain any traction. They're just the same thing over and over again. So this way, this narrative work, the work on the worldview, on the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and where we are going, they are fundamental. This is not like, a luxury we are doing here. This is the basic groundwork. So listening, like listening to music, with an open heart, with an open mind. Breathing up the stability and the ancient depths, of the earth herself, which has been evolving for almost 5 billion years, starting from a cloud of stardust. A living being. Then also connecting with the unmanifested space, which is also full of potential. And we are, as human beings, we are sitting in both. Body emerges out of the manifest like a wave, on the top of the planet. And when the body dies, it goes back in. And at the same time, we can also connect with can call it spirit, we can call it the unmanifest, we can call it our higher potential individually and collectively. Really opening yourself all around to be informed. And open ourselves to higher insights. Opening, is there any update? Is there anything to include into my perspective? Just opening the whole being. Whatever update wants to land in us, allowing that to land. And then, maybe, sensing that, I don't know how to do this. That sounds already weird. Okay, let that also be there. Just opening. And you don't need to think about it, but just opening and allow the system, it knows how to do this. It's the intention, which has the power to support the opening. Comes from the heart, which is like the central station of our being, the central computer where everything comes together. The attention and intention to evolve, to live from a place of healing and non-separation. And if we intentionally open ourselves, to those updates, quote unquote, to this information, it can land in us. And if we are not aware of it, it's just not going to land. So connecting to our higher potential as individuals, but also as a species, as a family, as a group. As the earth is calling us, really knocking us from all sides to wake up, make some space for something new to manifest through us. Let go of the old narrative. Let go of all of these outmoded ways of conducting living. They are not sustainable. So allowing that to just, move through us, and it has its own intelligence. You don't need to worry about how it's going to manifest. It will manifest if you allow it to be doing its job and be bearing with the discomfort of uncertainty. That's how it happens. And we are together here to help each other to bear the uncertainty. That's where the trauma gets woken up. And that's okay. That's just how it is. It couldn't be otherwise. That's the price to pay. It's a good investment, really. Brings much more ease into our lives and a sense of fulfillment, really, if we can do that work. So, however the planetary body wants to heal itself, that's good enough for me. It's like, when we cut our finger, we don't need to do anything other than just clean the wound and not stop cutting. Let it heal. And that's what we are asked, to join in with that planetary intelligence to heal itself, serve that one, and work with everything which is stirred up on the way. And we can connect with that through the calling, the sense of purpose, our passion, our gifts. It's really not rocket science. It's just sometimes difficult to be in the mess of it, like an earthworm, not knowing what's gonna be around the corner, really. And that's why we need the community. We need the opportunity, to be with others who are on a similar journey and who have the same struggles. So what else is there to do, really, than to support that collective self-healing mechanism of the planet, that self-organizing regenerative intelligence? And maybe in the olden times that was called God or other words, and now we call it the immune system of the planet, the self-healing mechanism, that unfathomable intelligence. Which is really awesome. And if we can connect with the awe, automatically there's the space. And if there's space, digestion can happen. And if there's digestion, integration is happening. And if there's integration happening, there is more expansion. And then there's more grounding and more capacity to live from that place. And we're all stumbling along with that process, and that's all we can do, and we are doing it. But we can do it more and more consciously, then we have more and more resilience, to be okay with discomfort, uncertainty, and also enjoy the times, when we feel really in the flow and deeply connected. So in a minute or so, I'm going to ring the bell. Bringing your awareness back to the breathing process. And sensing the body as a container for the purpose to manifest through the body. And then when you hear the bell and you slowly open your eyes to just, staying connected with the body from inside, and at the same time taking in with whom you're sharing this space. As we are holding this space together. As a refuge on the journey.